Should women athletes get paid the same as men? Let's talk about equal pay in sports. Now, after the ICC announced that the Men's and Women's Cricket World Cup will have equal prize money, I received a lot of messages. Some said it's ridiculous that women are getting the same, while some said it's about time. So here we go. Firstly, let's divide how athletes earn money in sports into three categories, because this is where the confusion occurs with most people, and this is important to understand. Number one, athletes earn money through prize money. You win a tournament or your team wins one, there is a prize money that you or your team get. Number two, athletes earn money through salary. This is different from prize money. There is a salary that an athlete gets paid when they play for a club like the Mumbai Indians in cricket or Manchester United in football. These are the contracts and the IPL auction amounts that you read about. The third way athletes get paid is endorsements. This is where a brand pays you money to be their brand ambassador. This one's pretty straightforward, but I hope all three categories are clear. Now let's dive into them. Let's start with prize money. I think it should be equal. Now, people will argue that the Men's Football World Cup generates significantly more revenue than the Women's World Cup, so they should not be paid the same. In tennis, people argue that in Grand Slams, women play a best of 3 sets while men play a best of 5 sets. And while all this is true, who cares? I mean, the numbers are just too small. Make it equal pay. It will encourage women's participation in sports, and where we can do it, we should do it. I mean, why wouldn't we? Tennis Grand Slams have been offering equal pay and prize money for some time now, which is fantastic. And I think it should be there in every single sport. I'm just so glad that the ICC has finally done it in cricket. Now let's move on to salary. This is the salary a player gets paid at the club that they're playing for. Now it's important to understand something. The salary that athletes receive from their clubs has nothing to do with whether the athlete is a man or a woman. It has to do with economics. Now, what is a club or a sports franchise? A club, which is the Mumbai Indians, Real Madrid or Manchester United, they're businesses. They are in the business of sport. Their revenue mainly comes from the TV rights of the league they're in, sponsorships, ticket sales and merchandise. And like any company, they need to manage their revenues and expenses. And that's what it boils down to. So if the women's team gets more revenue and is bigger than the men's team, then the women's players should get paid more than the men. But if the men's team gets more revenue and is bigger than the women's team, then the men's player will obviously get paid more. Now, the unfortunate reality is that men's team sports is almost always going to have a larger revenue base. I wish that would change and it would be equal, but I don't see that happening, at least in my time. So, should RCB pay Smriti Mandhana, who plays for their women's team, the same amount that they pay Virat Kohli? I mean, absolutely not. It makes no sense. Finally, let's move on to sponsorships. Now, I feel like I'm going to repeat myself here, but since we're having this discussion, allow me the leeway. The money that athletes receive from sponsors has nothing to do with whether the athlete is a man or a woman. It has to do with economics. When their marketing team takes a decision to sponsor a player, a company has a calculation behind it. And whatever an athlete is getting paid has to do with the return on investment they can provide the company. So once again, this is a business decision. To sum it up, prize money, there's no question, make it equal across the board. Salary income and sponsorship income, they're business decisions and have nothing to do whether the athlete is a male or a female. So in the future, when you look at a list of the top earning athletes, please take a moment to separate their on-field and off-field earnings. And as far as their on-field earnings go, separate the salary from the prize money. What are your thoughts? Thanks for watching Sportify.